Hey Literates, it's Britt Riley with your Poetic Presence for the month. On this first Tuesday, on this first Poetic Presence after Black History Month, I want to rejoice and study, explore some anxieties I had about being a Black writer, what was expected of me as a Black writer, what people thought it meant to write a Black poem, and especially after Black History Month, when some people situate everything Black in that month, their reading, their study, their exploration, right, all of those things. I wanted to do this poem to talk about just how large and how big Blackness is and how it's a constant discovery. How this poem was a big part of how I understood Blackness and how I do understand Blackness, the expectations that attempt to be put upon it, personifying Blackness, all the things. So this is an epic, a short epic called What I Found There. So it's real long. Real long. I have longer poems, but it is an epic. So buckle up. You don't need a snack, it's not that long, but do buckle up because the poem takes a couple of hard lefts and does a bit of misdirection very much on purpose. But I think if you hang with me and you follow the adventure of the protagonist, you'll sort of, you will be privy to some anxieties of a Black writer and ultimately come to just how voluptuous Blackness is. Okay, this is What I Found There, an ode to Blackness. One night before bed, I prayed for a poem Black enough to save me in the belly of the well that is this country. And if this is the belly of the well, where did you actually want me to go? Where did I go wrong? I digress. I prayed for the Blackest poem to save myself with, and God sent me this vision, an out-of-body experience. And on the way back to myself, I witnessed a conversation between me and another darker being, and oh, what ebony revelations, and oh, what life she breathed into me. Forgive me, or don't, because this poem is a maze, and I am taking your stationary assets on the screen as confirmation that you would like to come with me in this poem. I attempt to find the path, the abstract, find it so I can lose it for good this time. It often goes unseen, that is its way. Winding about, virulent as the plague, painted black like anyone ever died from a shadow, like a shadow ever strangled or stole breath. I caught a glimpse of it yesterday, the path, the abstract. My grandmother, answering questions unasked, told me to be careful on my way, say that pursuit be its own maze, and the maze I want spit me out at some end as suddenly as it pleases. It's ruled that way, okay. In this poem, I am looking for sight. I am looking for its glory stolen and buried in the sun. Give it back to my mistress, the moon. She is calling for it. She bade me go, showed me the path. In fact, at least I'm beginning to suspect, and you are still coming. This will be a series of inquiries, maybe a series of assertions too, hopefully. By the end, at the end, the two of us will share a secret. Neither of us may go down the path we go. First turn. Why do detectives shine lights in interrogations? It does not encourage the truth. People tell the truth under cover of night. When a beautiful ebon pinion hides their face and their sin, it happens so much, this secret honesty. They have begun to mistake the darkness for the sin, because it is kind enough to be confidant, mature enough to keep other folks' business out of its mouth. I'm going somewhere with this. Second twist. This maze looks like a dark alley at this bend, and right now at this PM, it seems to have teeth. Maybe by the time I finish this word, we won't be afraid anymore. We see your anxiety is wafting up to me. It will go away soon. Maybe you won't be afraid of the dark anymore. Call people dressed in her teeth. Sometimes My mistress puts on her best gown, goes out looking so fine she just has to hug herself because she is the first celebration that always happens alone. When she hugs herself, she squeezes so tight that her crushed velvet flowing around her regal makes its own light, gives you a taste of its ancient sight, and you see visions of paths the light tends to hide. Third mist, I'm mixing words, getting slightly meta, but this isn't the time or the lighting for such truth. Wait for darkness. After the holy, maybe. See, if she returns, she's angry, says, you have tried to cut me away, me who communed with God before you. I saw your genesis. You ascribe all things evil to me, have forgotten how to speak of me independently, only know me in reference to white. You walk by sight, faithless creatures. I condemn you to weeping and gnashing of teeth in eternal light. Fourth step. She says we're going our own way, says she's covered me in her grace, so I should speak candidly like I'm talking only to her, speak of her candidly. Mistress says, leave the abstract, spits me out of the path randomly, says, re-know me, says, don't dare use a guide as sacred as the poem for the abstract. That is not its way. You've taken it your own way. Be clear, as I've taught you to be. Speak it plainly and stand up straight with no shame. Proclaim the purpose of this poem. Stop beating around the flame and calling it a burning bush holy. The holy comes from the truth, from solid ground. Hold on to that. I'm coming back for it. My mistress is right. This poem isn't about a maze. I just found that safer than hazarding all the things that try to slip into a black poem. I was afraid. Now I will withstand you to your face. There is no maze. Let me be clear. This poem is about us. It ain't about jail cells that hold us tighter than our mothers, or prisons more successful than black-owned businesses, or beds that can't keep their host, caskets that become beds, concrete pavement streets that become burial grounds. It's about us. Our community that stretches beyond the street cutoff or area code, our ability to find home in a shared glance after you both witnessed some foolishness your mama warned you about, because you both witnessed some foolishness you couldn't even begin to tell mama about. It's about us, about how we be an ocean, but we also be steady ground, how we be firm fluidity, how we hold this duality, how we be a church. So when we congregate, I mean get good and convocated like we are now, don't let them shush you or your sister or your brother. Respect the fathers, don't dare shush the mothers, because we be giving praise. We be naming all the things God loved into us and rejoicing in them, how this is holy ground, sanctified by slaves' bones, how we were built with slaves' bones, so we are sanctified temples of holy, giving ourselves to each other. This poem is about us, just like this time. It's for us to look back on how we got over, because we got more ways to go. My grandmother braided salvation down my back, told me to use it as a map, so I know we'll get there. Then let's not take this moment to strategize. Let's take it for sanity. Not to be the action plan once again, but to be the calm before we storm, to be joy, to have joy, to create, to invest in our expression, to speak ourselves, health, perform our life cyclical. This moment makes us immortal, to make this our renaissance, because we be so powerful as to rebirth ourselves. Our womb is enlarged with what we could be, so we are literally full of ourselves, near to bursting, and our time has come. Dreams finally carried to term, done waiting on this country to come to terms with us. This country, like a negligent nurse never returning to do her rounds. You know how they do us. Or worse, she's like a nurse they call angels of death. Angels of death kill their patients. Call it putting them out of their misery. Say they were going to die anyway. Say their life was painful to live and they wanted it to end. But we be that new phoenix. The phoenix that burned so long it no longer needs flames to regenerate, that can die 1,000 deaths and return to tell its children. Hasn't that been our experience? Are we not the biggest majestic bird, all of us spread out, stretching with pride on nights like tonight when we are out in all our plumage, our glory? Don't we defy gravity with our airborne weight? Don't we multitask, being more than defiance? We are brilliance, unity incarnate, dynamism in all its perpetuity. What, I ask you, could be blacker? Nothing, I tell you, could be blacker. Believe me, I've met her. Okay, so that's the poetic presence for this month. I know that was a lot. You made it on that epic journey. Take it in, listen to it again, try to follow the movements and really sit with it and think about the different anxieties, the different turns, the moments of confrontation, moments of rejoice. Yeah, you can take that poem and that journey as seriously as you are able, because it wasn't as serious to me about thinking through Blackness and all of the things that are expected of it and all the things that it is and all the things that we don't know how to express. Blackness is a bit ineffable, and that is part of why that poem became so long, because when I sat down with it, it just went on and on and on. As I was trying to put my finger on it, it always twisted away just at the moment of holding. So thanks for sitting in with me. You may safely unbuckle and sit with and try to unpack. Until next time, Literates, be well. Take care.